as well. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in with us here at 11:30. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Carolyn Bruck. Power lines and trees down all across the area. For the very latest on the storm and where it's headed to next, Larry Sprinkle standing by. Larry, this thing is powerful.
Powerful, and once again heard fast, very fast moving. The very latest from the National Hurricane Center. Winds still about 50, gusting to 75 miles per hour. It's moving northeast at 48 miles an hour. So that center of circulation is going to be moving across central Virginia. Eventually ends up out in the Atlantic Ocean as we get into this evening and early tomorrow morning. Take a couple of views here. This is Blowing Rock. You can see things have calmed down quite a bit there. This is downtown Boone, overcast, but things have certainly calmed down there. I want to show you some of the maximum wind gusts we've had so far today. Here in Charlotte, we've had wind gusts as high as 53 miles per hour. Certainly tropical storm force winds gusted up to 46 at Concord, 36 at Lincolnton, 44 at Lancaster in South Carolina. Those winds continue to be gusty out there. So yes, there's a 100% chance we're going to see winds over 40 miles per hour as we head into the early part of the afternoon. First one Doppler radar. Once again, we have the heaviest rainfall tracking into central Virginia. That's where the heavy rain and the storms are at the moment. A lot of the issues today really is the amount of rainfall up in the northern mountains of North Carolina. You can see we have a flash flood warning in effect for Allegheny, Ashe, and Watauga counties, and for Allegheny, Ashe, and Wilkes counties as well. All the heavy rain. Some of the estimated rainfall, and this is just this morning, that we've had almost 3 inches over there just north of Morgan along the I-40 corridor near Marion, over 2.5 inches of rainfall there. So we've averaged anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches of rainfall in the mountains and the foothills. Issue we'll be dealing with today is the amount of wind that we get. We're going to see at least calming a bit as we get towards late in the day. We're still going to see winds gusting well over 40 miles an hour. I would say as we get into late afternoon into the evening, we see at least the sustained winds calm down. We still could get some winds gusting up to about 35, 40 miles an hour for later in the afternoon. More about a big change in our weather with no storms for the weekend coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks. Our team coverage continues right now of Tropical Storm Zeta. As it marches to the northeast, we do have that team coverage. Richard Devane and East Charlotte meteorologist Chris Mulcahy up in the mountain counties.
And meteorologist Chris Mulcahy live in Lenoir, and you've been on the roads all morning long since dark and early this morning from Hickory to Morganton and now Lenoir. So you've really seen conditions change in the past few hours. Are you seeing any damage out there?
All right, clearly some issues with Chris's microphone there, although we do see some of the flooding in his area. Just gives you an idea, even without his microphone, the situation up there in Lenoir. Let's go ahead and turn it over to Richard Devane. He's covering the storm here in the Charlotte area, and he's live on Eastway Drive, where a tree came down on houses. We saw similar scenes like this around the greater Charlotte area. Richard.
Yeah, Ben, basically, I spoke with the homeowner a little bit ago. He didn't want to speak on camera. He said he's just too nervous. But he says he's used to storms, and he woke up and started hearing some creaking sound. And when he heard that creaking sound, he said he knew something was up. He had just enough time to take cover. And this is the reason why. This massive tree, this oak tree that fell in front of this house, has been here about since 1952, he says it was built. That tree has been here almost as long. He said he's been here for the last 15 years. Fell onto part of his house, actually crushing part of his garage and his car. Now, as you take a look at video, you can tell that this is just part of what's been going on this morning when those storms blew through here, causing power outages, of course, falling limbs into trees, a lot of people bundling up, trying to stay off the road. Fortunately, a lot of folks who didn't have to go out today because they're working from home, so that's some good news. But as Duke Energy reports, thousands of power outages. We've seen their crews all around today working on power lines. They say that they're doing the best they can. Of course, that all depends as we come back here live as to when the conditions are actually safe. Luckily for this home, the tree fell into the power line, brought the line down, but not the power pole. So Duke says all they have to do is come back at some point and then reattach a line so it won't be as intense a project right here. But that's not the case around other parts of the city. Of course, we're going to keep monitoring the situation here and around the city and bring you the latest in about 30 minutes and throughout the day here and online. We're on Eastway Drive. This is Richard Devane. Back to you, Ben.
All right, Richard, thank you.
And with report after report of exactly what Richard was showing you, trees coming down, you can imagine power outages are going to be a big problem today if you're not already experiencing some. Rachel Lundberg been tracking it all. So Rachel, what's the latest?
Hey guys, so I want to show you a tweet from Duke Energy. They're saying that due to the high winds, the heavy saturation in the ground, we've got numerous trees all across our area that are down, and this is leaving thousands and thousands of people without power all across the Carolinas. Taking a look at their map, I just took this screenshot a few minutes ago. You could see hundreds of thousands of clusters of people that are now in the dark right now because of this storm. Across the Carolinas, they're working more than 400,000 households that don't have power. I zoomed into some of the areas to see where there were major clusters, and there were several around Uptown, just west of Uptown, Plaza Midwood, South End, south of Myers Park, the Ballantyne area, Matthews, and Fort Mill. The percentage of customers that don't have power in Burke County, 26%, 33 in Catawba, 32 in Iredell, 6% in Mecklenburg County. If that seems low, that's more than 25,000 people that don't have power in Mecklenburg County. It's just such a large population. If you're in the dark and you want to report, maybe you're watching from your cell phone right now and you want to report that the power is out where you live, text out to 57801. That'll get you straight to Duke Energy. They've got 2,600 workers spread out right now for a multiple day restoration effort. That was their plan going into this, and they have more than 300 other workers from different regions like Florida, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky that are ready to travel to help out our Carolina-based crews if needed. So we will continue to follow the very latest, guys.
Rachel, thanks so much. Well, switching gears, the first of the month coming up fast. But if you or someone you know in North Carolina is having trouble paying rent, you're going to want to hear this because Governor Cooper is signing an executive order now to help prevent evictions. This order will supplement the NC Hope initiative, which helps pay landlords and utilities directly to help keep people in their homes. And we have an update from UNC Charlotte, a dorm now under lockdown after traces of COVID-19, we're told, were found in the wastewater. The university has been testing the water as a way to detect the virus days before symptoms even appear. Students living there will have to stay in the dorm now until they can individually be tested.
Well, let's take a look at the coronavirus by the numbers, at least here locally. And folks, the news is not great. Our most recent numbers show cases are not slowing down here in North Carolina. You can see yesterday another 2,200 people testing positive. That's the 5th day in a row we've seen over 2,000 cases in the past week. Now, contrary to what some have said, it's not just because people are getting more tested. No, it's not more tests. It's because if you look at the percent positive tests coming back, which is really a better indicator, 7% are now coming back positive compared to the 5% we saw when our numbers were at their lowest.
And as Election Day draws near, many people say they are still concerned that delays with the mail could impact the results of the election. So to test the reliability of mail delivery all over, and really all over speed, NBC stations have been running a little test of their own. CNBC's Kayla Tioshi has the details.
As lines wrap around polling stations nationwide, mail-in ballots are flooding into the U.S. Postal Service. An autumn crush following a summer of discontent, warnings of delays and cuts to resources just ahead of a high-stakes election.
Are you highly confident that those ballots would then be received?
Extremely highly confident.
With confidence in question, NBC stations have been putting the post office to the test, sending hundreds of letters cross-country since August, nearly all arriving within a week, 88% within 3 days, the post office's on-time benchmark. Then came October. Only 79% of our more than 800 letters arrived in that time frame, and a dozen, or 1.5%, were unaccounted for after 10 days. A potential headache if those were ballots and their addressee was the Board of Elections.
The real challenge now comes when the ballots come in and they have to be counted, making sure there's enough people to do it, making sure the ballots come in early enough so that there's time.
And in critical battleground states like Florida, late or missing ballots could have a material impact. More than 5 million Florida voters have requested to vote by mail. If 1.5% of those ballots disappeared, that's 75,000 votes. President Barack Obama won the state in 2012 by about 74,000 votes. Sunshine State ballots must be received by 7 p.m. on Election Day to get counted. But Craig Latimer, election supervisor in Hillsborough County, says they've got a head start.
We start counting the ballots 22 days before the election, the vote-by-mail ballots. By law, I have to upload the early vote totals into the server on the Monday before the election. So shortly after 7 o'clock on election night, we're going to be releasing a lot of unofficial results.
All right, keep it here. Our coverage of Zeta returns after the break. Plus, the latest on the road to the White House. President Trump making another stop in the Tar Heel state. Details after the break.
I've been talking to you.
Go ahead. Everything was resolved.
In less than 24 hours, everything was resolved.
The defenders are getting answers to where's the money, only on WCNC Charlotte.